Well, the chart of the day, according to CNBC, none other than Tesla stock. And I'm so incredibly shocked to see the stock have a positive reaction to rumours that the Trump administration will create a national framework to fast-track the approval of autonomous vehicles throughout the United States. So incredibly shocked that I made a video yesterday saying, I think I know what's going to happen when the market opens on Monday, which I rarely do.
In the T's, there it is, Tesla, it's up 7 1/3%. Pull it out from election day, you can see a story that's just unbelievable. I mean, I think the stock's up 50% or thereabouts since the election, for obvious reasons. Maybe it's not unbelievable. Maybe it was expected. I don't know. And this is following a report that the incoming Trump administration wants to relax self-driving car rules. So that stock is up. You can see the run since election day. What is that, 37%? Something like that. That follows a report from Reuters on Friday that they want to end the EV tax credits as well. So Uber's down on this news. Belsky, you own Uber. How are we thinking about this whole deal? You don't own Tesla, but it's the Uber move on the self-driving thing that seems to be more interesting.
Now, I'm not sure whoever this guy is, but geez, imagine owning Uber's stock and not owning Tesla stock when Tesla is about to disrupt and possibly bankrupt Uber with the rapid deployment of a fleet of autonomous vehicles throughout the United States and the world that don't have the unnecessary cost of a driver. Anyway, I'm going to skip ahead through some of the Uber cope. I want to get to a little bit more about Tesla. This guy basically owns stock in Blockbuster, but not Netflix.
He obviously seems to be. That doesn't seem to me to be waning anytime soon.
Right. It's hard to see with this new Doge role whether or not it's going to be a permanent role, whether or not it's a temporary role.
But
God damn it, dude. It's a temporary role. There's an end date. This has been disclosed. July 4th, 2026. That's when this project dissolves. All work will be done prior to that date. We also know, as Trump has announced formally, it's not an official cabinet position. It's an advisory role. And where does CNBC find these people?
It has nothing to do with the Tesla.
I'm
talking about the Tesla thing.
I think it's too early on Uber
It's way too early. It's way too early. I'm just talking peripherally with respect to Musk and his role. I just think I think what's going on with Tesla is more important to what's happening in consumer discretionary, quite frankly, as a sector overall relative to what's happening with Uber. I really believe that.
It's just too soon. We don't know. Look, Robotaxis, we don't even know if they could be profitable because of all the attendant costs.
Is this the Tide Brigade? What? Oh, man. Now, I'm pretty sure I remember this guy who's been betting against Tesla and or Elon and humiliating himself for many years. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm not. But I think even somebody with a brain as small as Kamala Harris could figure out that robotaxis at scale will be massively profitable because you do not have the cost of a driver that needs to be paid for actually doing the work. It's software, the cost of which is near zero. The marginal cost to put that software on a vehicle is practically zero. A couple of cents in bandwidth for data transfer, and then you're off to the races. The bulk of the, quote, cost relating to autonomy has already taken place. Superclusters for training, scaling the AI team, and then paring it back, Operation Vacation, if you know, you know. This is a crazy thing to say. The most expensive part of the ride in an Uber, a Lyft, a taxi, or so on, is the driver. If there's no driver, your biggest cost is gone. What the fuck are they talking about?
Drivers absorb at Uber versus Uber absorbing. So how is Tesla going to deal with that? But what will be good is when they do have a national plan for self-driving, that'll benefit a lot, and they can enforce that nationally because the federal government controls spending for federal highways and roads. They get all these grants, so it's not that difficult. But the technology's just not there for robotaxis yet, I don't believe.
Now, it is true that if you're a box-ticking, spreadsheet-dwelling, can't break the rules, Wall Street type of person, you might argue, yeah, well, it's true. Tesla doesn't yet have any robotaxis legally operating anywhere, so obviously the technology's not there yet. But if you have access to the internet and a brain, and also vision, you can actually look online right now and watch videos, unedited videos, of people using this software to drive intervention-free from point A to point B. Now, it's not all the time. It's not perfect. But if you can see rides that are lasting 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 plus minutes in major cities throughout the US and other areas, highways and cities, whether it's from the middle of Manhattan out to the airport, through the hilly streets in San Francisco, you can watch these drives without any intervention. The software doing all of the work from point A to point B. It's extremely clear that the software in some cases is already there, although Tesla hasn't sought regulatory approval, but you'd still consider it a learner driver. needs some supervision, might make a mistake here and there, but it's getting better, the rate of improvement. I don't understand how many of these knuckleheads don't watch videos of the software or use the software. How can you be uncertain about, fuck dude? I just can't. And now Dan Ives apparently has some thoughts on Elon Musk's involvement with the Department of Government Efficiency under a Trump administration, at least according to the title of the chapter. Haven't watched this yet.
Look, no question, foot in the door at the White House. I mean, more than a foot, obviously, is a big deal.
An office at the White House. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Yeah, actual role is worth premium in a stock, it seems, without question, especially for a stock whose premium was eroded based on persona and character. So first take the victory lap, I guess, real quick on defending Musk's multitasking skills.
Yeah, look, this was a bet for the ages for Musk. I mean, Musk betting on Trump is going to change the whole landscape for Tesla. Autonomous, AI, regulatory, I think a lot of that gets massively accelerated. EV tax credits get pulled probably in January. That's negative for the industry, negative for Detroit. Remember Musk, when it came to Biden administration, and even Obama on the outside looking in, right? Now, Trump administration, huge seat at the table. Going to be very important when it comes to China tariffs. Those discussions, almost an AI ambassador. Look, I believe AI alone, the autonomous piece, is worth $1 trillion alone to Tesla stock.
Mm-hmm. To my mind, it's not. It's something that feels like an inevitability. The self-driving cars. So, like.
Well, this seems to be a change of tune. Not necessarily from Oliver himself. I don't really recall what he said in the past, but just in general, to hear this autonomy as being inevitable as opposed to not going to happen, impossible, blah, blah, blah. It is inevitable, and I think it's happening a lot sooner than people expect. But I still got to go back to Dan's comments about autonomy being worth $1 trillion to Tesla. Personally, I would say $1 trillion and then some more, and then even more. Shout out to my Tesla valuation model. Check it out on Patreon at the investor level and above. The link in the pinned comment if you want to see. I'm not sure if Dan is underestimating this, being extremely skeptical and or conservative just because that's how he rolls, or if he's not really sizing the opportunity, at least in the same manner that I am. Or maybe he just doesn't want to get completely laughed off Wall Street, so he's taking it in baby steps. Maybe 2 years from now, it's going to be talking about another trillion and then another trillion. We'll see. And for those of you who saw yesterday's video, I do want to underscore, we're starting to see a pretty strong shift in perceptions around autonomy. Oliver here now. Autonomy seems inevitable. Dan here. Autonomy going to add $1 trillion. Elon with the Trump administration, very positive. We are seeing the narrative around Tesla start to shift from just a car company to, wait, autonomy is a big deal. It's inevitable, and it's worth $1 trillion plus.
And I don't dispute that at all, or your market cap assessment. That's you. One thing I'm thinking about now, Dan, though, is there any worry in your mind that it gets sketchy at all if Elon starts self-dealing in a way from the White House? I guess he's got the mandate right now, which is fine, but does any of that backfire, open him up at all? If he starts giving himself or removing credits, etc. Or is the market not just thinking that anybody's going to check them on that stuff?
Look, I think it's a new world, right? And I think, the rules that I think Musk goes to a different set of rules. And I think as it all plays out, as we're seeing, it could have some bumps in the road, but I don't see how this is all going to change. In other words, I think autonomous is going to get significantly fast-tracked. The AI piece is going to get fast-tracked. And that's bullet. Look, the poster child who's going to benefit here is going to be Musk and Tesla.
What about the angle from Tesla with the credits? One thing I've heard is that if they remove credits, then the lesser peers struggle more, and that one seems like there's a few leaps of logic there.
Did he what? There are a few examples of logic being used there. It's a weird one. I've covered this many times. I don't want to go into too much detail again, but the short story, Tesla's the only company in the US making money selling electric vehicles. They don't need the credit. Everyone else is losing way more than the $7,500. Way more. We're talking tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars per EV sold. EV tax credit goes away. In the short term, it's not of major benefit to Tesla, but it has the equal effect on other companies. But over the long term, the companies that previously were dependent upon that $7,500 tax credit and still losing tens of thousands of dollars per EV sold, they're just going to scale back their EV plans. They're going to produce less of them. They're going to cancel future electric vehicles because thinking, well, if that credit's gone, fuck, dude, we're never going to make profitability. Just give up. And there'll be less products to buy. Per the example I recently made on X, if you go to the supermarket, the grocery store, to buy cereal, and there's literally one brand of cereal, one choice on the shelf. Guess which you're buying?
Well, removing the credits is negative for the EV industry, negative for Detroit,
Right.
313 area code, bullish for Tesla because they have the scale and scope that's unmatched. They make profits on a $35,000 car, $10,000. You look at the tax credits are essentially given an even playing field to give affordable cars to some of these new entrants. That's out.
Yeah.
That's bullish for Tesla.
Okay, so you're saying basically like a Rivian, I don't know the names, or I mean like some of the companies that are losing a ton on their vehicles basically will have to like cease operations.
But also, Rivian's a high-end consumer. They're not focused on tax credits. Like you're talking about vehicles in the $35,000, $40,000 range. Look at GM Ford. GM has 10, 12 vehicles come out. You take the credit out, it's a game changer. And guess what? Musk is almost like wasn't invited to the party for 8 years. That being the White House party. It's all about Detroit, Barra, GM,
Totally.
Biden, UAW. Now all of a sudden they come to his house and he's sitting there in Mar-a-Lago. That's not a good situation for GM.
But GM and
Turns out karma is in fact real. Now I can't stop here. I just noticed we've entered a new chapter, bullish case for GM. I'm not sure who's presenting the bullish case for GM, but I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, GM are fucked. They have an incompetent leader who's also extremely devious, deceptive and dishonest, who's brazenly lied to her investors in public statements previously, claiming falsely, just watch the body language, that she claimed the GM could catch up to and then exceed Tesla for US EV sales by like 2025. While shaking her head, she's asked, do you believe you can catch Tesla by X date? Mary says absolutely, while literally shaking her head so violently her neck nearly snapped. Clearly, she didn't believe her own bullshit. And what? 2025 is next year. I've got a funny feeling GM ain't catching Tesla by then. There were two extremely embarrassing partnerships announced previously. Remember the Nikola Badger? That whole gigantic scam? Shout out to Trevor. Don't drop the soap, mate. Actually, maybe he's into that. I don't know. Whatever. They partnered, quote unquote, partnered with Nikola, a company who I'd already exposed, raising the fact that there were more red flags than a Chinese Communist Party rally. Strong indications of fraud everywhere you looked. Fake products that were never actually going to market. And the Badger itself I exposed as a fake product intended to lure in dumb fuck retail investors, a gigantic pump and dump. I called it all ahead of time. Said this thing's never going to see the light of day. Then GM, chasing some EV clout in my opinion, announced a miraculous partnership with Nikola to produce this fake product that was never actually going to enter production in very strange terms. You see, it turned out that Nikola, who were claiming they had incredible battery technology and incredible this and the best this fucking blah blah blah, were going to be using a bunch of GM technology, which is weird since Nikola's over here saying we've got the best shit ever, our batteries are amazing, blah blah blah, but we're not going to use them, we're going to use stuff from GM. They were also going to pay GM a fuckload of money to produce the things and give GM a stake in the company. Now, this seemed a little bit lopsided to me. Why would Government Motors be partnering with the company to produce a product where it's not actually at all a partnership? GM's doing everything, producing everything, getting paid for everything. Why would they do that? And the answer was they wanted some of that EV clout, right? Just latch onto this obvious fraud of a company, since their stock's going to the moon, and benefit through association. But it was so obvious at the time. Nikola, Trevor Milton out there making fraudulent statement after fraudulent statement, lying to, misleading and deceiving people. It was so obvious. I'd been calling out for months on YouTube before this dumb fuck Mary Barra at CEO announced a partnership. Next minute, Trevor's exposed, dumpster fire of a company, a partnership is abandoned. Mary Barra, egg on her face. Idiot. But wait, there's more. There was also a partnership with Fraudstown Motors. That's right. Partnering with one company, making fraudulent statements wasn't enough. How about two? Embarrassing. I cannot believe that Muppet is still, quote, leading the company. GM, fucked. Oh, by the way, one final thing. I just have to bring this up as well. There's Cruise as well. You know, the Autonomous. Yeah, Cruise, who had that big safety cover up and then had to pull all their vehicles and cease operating. I don't know what they're up to now. GM ain't going to make it. They have an incompetent leader, utterly incompetent, who's also extremely devious and dishonest. Not a good combination, incompetent and dishonest. That's bad. They're utterly fucked. This is the same Mary B.S. Barra, who had to crawl to Tesla, tail between her legs, months after Ford announces a partnership for a supercharging network. The same Mary B.S. Barra, who as soon as Musk acquired Twitter, ceased posting on the platform entirely and was forced in announcing this partnership with Tesla for the charging network access months after Ford, who talk about leading and mattering, was forced to do a quick live spaces with Musk to announce a partnership. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a fucking knife. So, what I'm trying to say is there is no bull case for GM. So I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Ford, they can still afford, I mean, I don't know about Ford. GM seems like in a good position to generally still be able to produce the cars. They'll just do them at a lesser margin, though. So it's not like the cars come off the market. By the way, one of your best calls has been bullish on GM.
And we're bullish on GM. And look, I could argue investors almost want to see that. They want to see GM be like, hey, why don't you tone down a little the EV, the EV sort of transformation, go toward hybrid. So the irony is that this almost gives GM a excuse to almost maybe tone it down, which is bullish for the stock.
Right.
Now, look, in fairness to Dan, he's probably right. Short-sighted investors, short-term profit-focused, long-term bankrupt ignoring investors probably would find this bullish. And he's right. This is what's going to happen. If companies like GM are like, well, we can't make any money producing EVs today. We lose that tax credit. It's going to be even harder. Fuck it. Let's just go all in on hybrids and then go bankrupt anyway. That probably will please a lot of dumb investors over the short term. I mean, the fact that any investor today owns GM stock boggles the mind. So I think I actually agree with Dan's point. The bull case for GM stock, which is all about perceptions over the short term, scaling back on EVs, milking short-term profits on ICE vehicles before sales collapse, profits implode, and the companies go bankrupt, probably positive for the stock over the short term, but extremely negative for the company long term, which just means they're going out of business even sooner. Anyway, if there's one thing we've learned today, karma is absolutely real. A few years ago, the corrupt puppet posing as the president of the United States, the big guy himself, not inviting Tesla to the EV summit, stealing Tesla's valor and falsely crediting Mary Barra and government motors, electrifying the whole industry, leading, mattering, an outrageous snub. I mean, that was such a great opportunity to hold Tesla up as an example for the entire industry, to give credit where it was due. And instead, due to decades of political bribes from the UAW to the Democrats, the president lied to the public and falsely honoured GM for having done what Tesla actually did. Fast forward about 4 years, President-elect Donald J. Trump and Elon Musk have become broskies. And Trump honestly will not shut up about his new bromance with Elon Musk. What a change of tune. And with Tesla stock currently $338 a share, market cap $1.06 trillion, I just wanted to check back in and see what has happened since the election. Tesla stock up about 35%, past month over 50%. Imagine what might happen when the first Robotaxis start operating. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR or I can keep going. Plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously, there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game has improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.